Barbie! I told you to wait in the dream house.
Boys, avenge me! Avenge me! Avengers!
Bazinga.
Scruffy-looking nerf herders.
Ethan Hunt contacted you?
I am good, Rooster. I'm very good.
So you are Yoi's a trainer who trains.
Gonzo the Great will ride this baby again.
Hello and welcome to episode 64 of the Real Serious Podcast. We're talking Jason Statham, we're talking Avengers, we're talking Legend of Zelda. Before we do that, boys, how are we doing?
Phenomenal.
Love it.
I'm doing right there with you.
Love it.
Great week. I feel like I got to watch a lot, which was always good, but a lot of TV. I feel like TV is just slowly consuming my life, which nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, it's just as soon as you start it, you have to finish it, and you feel obligated to just continue these stories. And it's also nice just to. I had like this dilemma earlier this week where I turned on my TV and I was like, all right, what am I going to watch? And I kind of got this feeling. I was like, man, I really wish I had just like a TV show that I could turn on right now, and I just have that kind of consistency going, just that reliability. But a lot of TV for me. I was able to watch a couple movies this week, which was good. But
are you still on?
You watching? I am. This was a big week. We finished up season 5, so we're now on the final season of Sopranos, which is like 21 episodes. So basically, it's kind of like 2 seasons, but we are on schedule to finish before graduation, which is the goal.
It's great news.
Is
that the only TV show you're still watching?
No, I've added more, which is just. But stuff that's coming out. I've been trying to watch Invincible. I know you guys have been really pushing for that, but I think I'm going to try and start that once I finish The Sopranos. So try and watch that over the summer. I feel like that would be a really fun kind of binge, just because I'm going to have some free time there.
It'd be a good summer show. Do you know anything about?
I watched the first episode way back when. I have avoided spoilers the best I can.
I mean, the first episode kind of throws you right into the deep end.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to spoil the show. There are a couple things you could spoil, but that's like the main kind of plot twist, and it happens at the end of the first episode. So,
yeah,
but
it was pretty sweet. I really enjoyed the first episode, but for some reason, I just got caught up in something else. I don't know why I didn't ever continue it. But
very fair.
I guess if you want to start us off, and just what'd you watch this week? Anything crazy or pretty light week for you?
I watched more movies this week than I have probably the past 5 weeks combined.
Let's go.
So I think we're back.
Let's go. We are back.
First of all, I did hit the flea market, and I got a couple more movies. I got Spirited Away.
Nice.
It's like 3-in-1. It's like a...
Oh, you got the Dollars Trilogy. Is that what it is? Like Fistful of Dollars, a few dollars more, and then The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly? Is that it?
It's Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Oh, sick.
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and the Magnificent Seven. Got
some Westerns in there. Yeah. I have not seen Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
I haven't seen any of them. But I saw The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and I was like, ooh, I should get that.
Gotta buy it.
Yeah. But anyway, what I watched this week, so I rewatched The Grand Budapest Hotel. And my review was, Hi, Avery.
Oh, hello, guys.
We have a very special guest. To those that don't know, we have Hunter's girlfriend Avery is joining us. So, hello, Avery. Would you like to, briefly introduce yourself?
My name's Avery. I am not as much of a movie connoisseur as Hunter is. Do I need to talk louder? Sorry, guys.
That's hard to do.
I'm new to this podcast thing. I'm not as much of a movie connoisseur, but I do love TV shows. So that's kind of my jam. Other than that, it's kind of all I got going for me right now.
All right.
We've kind of been going into TV a little bit more now than usual. So I feel like it's a great time for you to be on.
Yeah, I can really give my expertise. I know I listen to the podcast every week, and I hear you guys talk about some things, and I always think I have so much to add. But
we love our listeners. So
yes.
if you want a chance to be on the podcast, Just got to be an active listener.
Gotta be an active listener. That's all you need to do.
Charlie, what else you get from the flea market?
Those are the only movies I got.
Light week for you?
Pretty light week, yeah. I didn't get like the 50 bomb again. Anyway, so Grand Budapest, watched The Princess Bride, which I had watched like probably 5 or 6 years ago. Hello, Princess Bride. So Jenna was in town last weekend, and we watched that together. Gave it 4 stars. Then I watched Fight Club for the first time.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I can talk about it.
Yeah. It's that movie is so old that you can talk about it. I mean, if people don't want to hear the spoiler, they can just skip ahead. But I feel like that's a very very early entry into like.
I more meant because of the first rule of Fight Club. I don't know if I can talk. Oh
yeah.
But no, the thing is, I think I would have liked it a lot more if I had been. We started it at like 10:45 at night, and it got to be like 11:15. I was like, Jesus, like I don't know if I could do this, but I finished it. I gave it 4.5 stars. I think I would like it more if I watched it again when I was 1, more well rested, and 2, now that I understand what happens during the whole movie, I think I'd like it a little more. And then I watched Jojo Rabbit for the first time as well. Gave that 4.5 stars. And Working Man, which we'll talk about.
It was a lot of work to watch that movie. Just a little foreshadowing for everyone. But I don't know, Avery, did you watch anything this week?
I did. Well, I watched A Working Man.
Nice.
As we said, we'll talk about later. Other than that, I didn't watch any other movies. Oh wait, no. We watched Mission Impossible 1, but I fell asleep halfway through. But I've seen it so many times, so it was like, okay. It was also like midnight. And then I started watching White Collar.
Okay.
Great show if you guys haven't seen it.
White Collar?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
What is it about?
It's basically this guy is a white collar criminal. He's the best of the best. And then he gets hired by the FBI as a consultant to help them solve more like white collar crimes.
I think my dad like really loves that show.
Yeah.
It's like a classic like
dad show.
Yeah.
There's like
Dad Show and Abe.
Dad Show and Abe Dog. But it's like a solid like 5-season show where like you're really not getting into like a lot, but just like easy to whip them out, you know?
They're still coming out with episodes?
No, I think it ended like in 2011 or something like that. That's it.
That's a chill week. That's a good week. I mean, I think last week Charlie had nothing to report.
Yeah.
Not to bash on you, Chuck, but
I know.
That's awesome. Like watching any movies at all throughout the week is a massive W. So myself, I really didn't get to watch too many movies. So which was really fun. So Caitlin, I'm not sure, and Avery, that's my girlfriend. Her and I, we've watched like, she's not really into the movies that have a lot of tension, so she enjoys kind of like the more like rom-coms, like that's more her style. But she went through my watch list on Letterboxd, which is like way too long, and she just kind of like picked out.
I think I've seen your watch list, isn't it? Like it's hundreds deep.
It's like 500 deep, yeah. I'm never gonna get to it. The problem is I'm never gonna get through everything. But if I see a movie that I think I might like, I'm like, you know what? I'll just add it to the watch list.
You know, it is good that you utilize that because I've like only started to utilize it. I think I have probably like 8 movies on my watch list. But I feel like it'd be nice to just like scroll through, find something, look it up, see if it's on streaming, then let it rip. Otherwise, you have to do the what am I gonna watch tonight?
The problem is I still have that problem. Even though I have my watch list, I very rarely go to it to actually pick something from it. See, I'm always like, oh, and the problem is, again, it comes up, do I watch The Electric State or do I watch something I've had on my watch list for like a year and a half? You know? Yeah. But this week was a good week. I watched I can't remember the name of the first one, but it was entertaining. Failure to Launch with Matthew McConaughey. Bradley Cooper was in this, which I was pretty surprised. I really like the Bradley Cooper roles where he is. I'm not going to say where he isn't necessarily like a serious actor, but kind of like those early like rom-com roles that he has. I just feel like he's so fun and energetic. Specifically kind of like The Hangover, but he's just like the same person in all those movies, and I really love those. Then I watched Snatch, which I wanted to get like some Jason Statham. I wanted to get some Jason Statham vibes before heading into A Working Man. But I really like this. I haven't seen a lot of Guy Ritchie's filmography, but I really did enjoy this, and one of my friends recommended. Yeah. Never seen the movie. Really loved it. I feel like it has a very distinct style. It's very unique, very like early 2000s ish, if that makes sense.
What's the Christmas movie where it has like 8 different stories going on?
Oh, I'm totally blanking.
It's not. It's About Time.
No, I know. It's Love Actually.
Love Actually. I think Snatch is like the R-rated, like dude version of Love Actually, because it has like 4 or 5 different things going on at once.
Yeah, and then it all just comes together in the end.
Yeah.
No. I see it. It's just like the different storylines. It's fun. I saw someone say it was like the British version of Pulp Fiction, which I feel like both of those can kind of describe it. I didn't really know what this movie was going to be about heading into it. I kind of hate reading the descriptions of them heading in, especially if it's new. I kind of like to be surprised, which probably makes looking for movies harder for me. But I don't know. I like being shocked. Like Love Actually, I feel like when I watch that or About Time, like I feel like the fact that that's kind of a sci-fi movie. Not, you know what I'm saying, but the time travel aspects of that movie, I was like completely caught off guard because I had not read anything about the movie. So I kind of enjoy that. But yeah, I mean, pretty big or slow week for me in the movie space. Then obviously watched A Working Man, but then TV was pretty big. Watched Daredevil, which we'll get to later. I think I'm the only person that watched Daredevil this week. I mean, obviously Hunter did, but then I watched
Daredevil.
No, but I did get I got this. A Daredevil. Oh, you can't see it. A Daredevil comic book workbook thingy. So that's my contribution to the Daredevil portion.
Cool.
No, but Hunter asked me every single day to start watching Daredevil. And I don't know why, but I just like can't bring myself to watch it. And I know it's a great show. I know people love it, but
Avery, I'm the exact same way. I've like tried to get into it and I just fall asleep every time. I don't know why. But
yeah. I don't know.
You just got to stick with it. It's like you just got to rip the Band-Aid off, you know?
Yeah, I know. I felt the same way with Severance. I watched the first episode and I was like, I don't think I want to keep on watching this. Dang. And then I watched the second episode and I got so into it. Okay. So I just need to do that with Daredevil.
I feel like it took me until like episode 6 to be like, okay, yeah, like this is a show. Until then, I was like, all right, I'm just watching to like keep up with people that talk about it. That's like kind of why I started watching it, because everyone was talking about it. And then at episode 6, I was like, okay, like this is good.
Yeah. That was one of those shows that I feel like I haven't really necessarily gotten to experience, but it's just so relevant and everyone is watching it. Everyone's talking about it. And I feel like it was fun to be a part of that just because I don't think I've been a part of something like that. Yeah. At least just Succession, Game of Thrones, never got to those. So I really didn't get to be part of that, but the Severance fandom was pretty fun. But and then I watched The Studio. It's Apple TV kept the subscription. That's the new comedy with Seth Rogen. Just pretty hard satire on the film industry. Really funny. Would highly recommend. There's only about an hour worth of episodes out right now. I don't know. I know it's not on the top of your guys' list, but I promise it's funny. And if you really like movies, then it's totally worth your time.
Weren't there a ton of like celebrities that played themselves?
Yeah. Martin Scorsese's in it.
Yeah.
Literally so many cameos. Greta Lee from Past Lives is in the second episode. Catherine O'Hara does not play herself, but is just like born for this role. She's like a former studio exec, and she's just pissed off all the time, and it's great. it's really, really good. Would highly recommend. Literally there's a 45-minute episode to start the series off, and then there's a 25-minute episode. So only 2 episodes have released, but really, really good stuff. Cannot recommend it enough. And then The Sopranos, we just continue to keep rolling. Finally got through to season 5 or to season 6. So almost done. I know Hunter is anxiously awaiting to hear my reaction to the ending, but should be coming soon. So I think that's it for, I guess, everyone's wrap up on movies this week. I guess we'll start off on kind of like the lower level news and kind of like heat our way up. Yeah, if that's cool with you guys, I don't really think.
Let it rip.
All right. So The Legend of Zelda is getting a trilogy. It is rumored. I know I was not a big gamer. Are you guys like big gamers? Are you guys big Zelda fans?
I'm the biggest Zelda fan ever. Sorry, that was sarcasm.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was like shocked for a minute. I was like, do I need to like?
No, I actually love Zelda. So there's so many Zelda games, and they've been coming out with them since like the N64. I don't know if they ever had it earlier than that, but I played Zelda for the first time on the Switch, and it was Breath of the Wild. I'm not sure if either of you have played that or like seen gameplay, but it's like the most breathtaking, most beautiful game I've probably ever played. And I literally like sat in my room when it first came out. I think it was like senior year of high school, and I just like rotted there for like 40 hours playing this game until I finished it. And since then, I've been like very high on Zelda. And they're coming out 3 movies, you said, Jack?
Well, so the rumor, it's just a rumor, but the rumor comes from a source saying that the actors have signed on for 3 movies over a 6-year period. So
now I wonder if they're coming out with like a brand new story, or if they're going off like an older game storyline, or like combining some games. I don't know, but yeah, I'm pretty excited for this. Isn't Hunter, who plays Zelda in this trilogy?
Let me look.
Do we know that yet? I mean, we have to if the actor's signed. I thought it was like Hunter Schafer. I'm pretty certain. Which I think would honestly be a pretty good cast, because she looks exactly like Zelda.
As of right now, it says Wes Ball is directing Zelda, and he's best known for directing The Maze Runner and the most recent Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes movie. And yes, Nintendo and Sony have kept casting details for the live action under wraps. However, fans keep suggesting Hunter Schafer. So
they're just suggestions.
As of right now, it seems like it's still just no one really knows, but fingers crossed.
But okay. All right.
Yeah, I know. The rumor is it's out there that the cast signed a 3-movie deal. Okay. We don't know who the cast is, so
okay. All right.
That's what makes it a rumor.
This one comes out, you each will have to play a game of Zelda, and then you'll understand.
I probably should. The only Zelda experience I have is Super Smash Bros. You know, he would always be the character. Yeah, he'd just send his sword, like it would like fly across the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I guess that's it for Zelda. But The Passion of the Christ 2 with Mel Gibson directing again after his hit movie Flight Risk, starring Mark Wahlberg. Have either of you seen The Passion of the Christ?
Can't say I've seen that one.
I would watch it every Easter with my family. And watching that as a really like young child has kind of scarred me a little bit because it is so realistic. But I really like it. I think it's a good movie. So I'd always watch it in high school, my Catholic school.
Is it just about like Jesus dying on the cross?
Yeah, like his crucifixion and like leading up to it and after. Yeah.
Yeah, it says it says the upcoming epic's narrative will stretch all the way from Satan's rebellion at the fall in Genesis to the death of the Apostle John. So it seems like there's a lot going on in this movie. They got a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah. A lot of books.
Yeah. I thought Nolan's Odyssey was going to be the most ambitious project, but this is a lot. So I think I'm interested. Obviously, Mel Gibson has had some very big movies in the past, but obviously he kind of had his fall from Hollywood after his some pretty hurtful remarks he made to a certain group of people. But honestly, it'll be interesting to see if he can kind of resurrect his career, as we've seen, or as I've seen with Flight Risk. That movie was bad. Not the worst I've seen. Not the worst I've seen all year. And I hate to just say that a movie's bad, but the script was pretty bad. And the idea that it was contained in a plane for 2 hours, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. But I don't know. I think going from Flight Risk to that is a very big jump. Then he also has Fury, and then what is the Scottish movie? I'm totally blanking on it.
Braveheart.
Yep. Which great movie.
He directed that?
He did. Yep. He starred and directed Braveheart.
Hacksaw Ridge as well.
Or he didn't. Not Fury. He directed Hacksaw Ridge. My apologies.
Okay.
I feel like I get those two a little confused at points. But yeah, there's, Passion of the Christ 2. the least expected sequel. And then next up, we're having like Superman. So Superman's been getting a lot of test screenings recently, and there's been some news of certain cameos or individuals that were going to join into this movie. Have you seen any of these yet?
Like all the kind of spoilers that Hunter talked about offline.
Yeah, Hunter, we're on the Superman scoop. And I was
amazing!
Charlie, if he's seen any of the castings that have kind of leaked out.
Yeah, I did see it. I texted you guys about it to try to avoid it.
Yeah, I was wondering if that's what.
Yeah, so I saw it. That's why I texted to avoid it, because it's just like we're going to obviously spoil what it is right now, right? Like that's just lame. In the grand scheme, it's not the biggest spoiler in the world, but like it's more so that this scooping culture has gotten so out of control. I'm so sick and tired of it.
Is it an actor or is it a character or is it a big deal because it's a certain actor playing a certain? Oh, okay. But we don't know what they're playing.
No, we do.
Is it?
I think I saw it.
We're not going to tease it. We're not those people. We're not the scoopers.
I'm not asking for a tease. I'm just asking for clarifying information to see what kind of spoiler it is.
I'd say it's a more interesting spoiler than like the average thing, but it's not world shattering, like earth shattering, I guess.
Like do you have a comp?
You're kind of making me say it without saying it.
Like a Marvel. If like let's say like a cameo in Marvel. Like let's say Deadpool Wolverine. Were there any cameos in that where if it had come out before, it would have been like on the same playing field?
I really don't think, at least if I'm thinking about the one I saw, I don't think it's necessarily to the levels of like Deadpool and Wolverine, where like you're like, oh, like that's my favorite character. But like seeing this actor play
Morbo Schmorbo is bad.
Yeah. But like seeing this actor play this character, it's cool, and I like the idea of it. So
is it like Chadwick being introduced as Black Panther in Civil War?
No.
It's nothing of that magnitude. It's
just more so like the scooper culture is just so ridiculous at this point. Like I'm just so tired of these people like leaking all this stuff. Like all the excitement is gone. Like it's just a race to leak what happens in the movie before the movie happens, which is just such a waste.
And the test screenings have been
positive.
Yeah. I mean, there's really been nothing negatively said about this movie, but at the same time, I don't think it's been the massive like yippee overreactions. Like this is the greatest movie ever. That
well, remember they said that with the Flash, and then we got the Flash. So hopefully,
exactly,
maybe that's a good thing.
Tom Cruise called it one of the greatest comic book movies. Did he say of all time?
He's seen only with that one. That's the only one he's seen, apparently.
That's what Tom Cruise said about Superman?
Allegedly. No, about the Flash. Allegedly. David Zaslav said that. Tom Cruise said that. So
we love Tom, but that is just an outrageous.
I choose to believe that isn't true. Is kind of my thought.
Yeah.
Can you keep defending this guy?
I will.
So yeah. Moving on from Superman, we have I Know What You Did Last Summer reboot. We got a little bit better look at it this week. We got a poster of the Hook. Is that the character? I know, Hunter, you know a little bit more about this than I do, but it will have some returning cast members from the original, and I
think Freddie Prinze Jr. is back.
The Scooby-Doo gang is back.
I think so. So the cast here is pretty good. Jennifer Love Hewitt, Freddie Prinze Jr., Madeline Klein is the kind of the cast here. I don't know. I feel good about getting these old slashers back. I think these are vibey movies. So.
No, I love them. Even I saw like Hard Eyes, which was the cheesiest slasher I've seen in probably forever. But I had such a good time seeing that in the theater, and it's like Thanksgiving was fun. But then obviously reviving some of the older ones, I'm excited to potentially revisit those in hopes of seeing it in theaters.
100%. It is. So Charles will be first in line to see it. Yeah.
And then, I guess if anybody have anything else to add on that, I guess Hunter joined again at a perfect time. We had quite possibly the longest live stream ever.
Oh my God, yeah.
One man is shown. The MCU continues to make it as dramatic as possible to show us that that we shouldn't be that excited about this upcoming movie, while also ruining. No.
Did you guys watch any of it?
I watched.
I jumped in at points.
I was driving, so like we would just check in on it periodically every like 20-30 minutes to see what would happen.
Yeah. Okay. Just so crazy that they ruin the Thunderbolts like that. And I think the uncertainty heading into that movie is what I was really intrigued in, because I think these characters, I think they are expendable in my eyes.
Oh yeah, we found out the ones that were expendable for sure.
Ghost.
Yeah, and there's clearly a character that I think everyone knew from the trailer wasn't going to make it out, and this only just puts the nail in the coffin.
Yeah,
for that.
I think the thought process was though, like, hey, let's get people excited for the Thunderbolts because they know they're going to be in the Avengers movie. So now it's like the casual fan is like, oh, I'll go see Thunderbolts because it leads into Avengers, versus like, oh, well, what are we ever going to see these characters again?
Sure. And I think for the continuation of Marvel, I totally get that strategy, but I think for just what they've showed from this movie, trying to make it look different, market it different than they have previous Marvel movies, I was excited at the thought of, maybe they might kill off a couple of these characters, and really solidify the storyline as one of Marvel's best. But I still think it can be very, very good, and I'm still really excited for it. But I think the fact that all of them are returning does kind of, like it'd be like knowing in the first Avengers movie when Iron Man sends the missile through the portal, and they're like, yeah, we already know that he had more movies coming, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know. I feel like back then as a kid, I didn't know that, like I wasn't chronically online, just like, oh man, when's the next Iron Man movie coming out? When is, is there going to be another Avengers movie, And I think the uncertainty that, maybe Iron Man did die, at the end of Avengers, I think that definitely adds a lot more to the story than Iron Man will be back.
I do think go ahead.
Kind of going off that point, I don't think the average viewer is looking at those chairs and thinking like, oh, this this character from Thunderbolts isn't there. Like they must. Like I don't think anyone's thinking that deep.
Where is Thaddeus Ross?
I think they're thinking of like the main, like the 4 or 5 main ones that they one expect to see and 2 want to see, and that's like Chris Hemsworth, Tom Holland, those kinds of characters. So I don't know if that's like I don't know if I have as big of an issue with that, just because I don't think people are like, maybe I'm wrong, but the average movie people that are looking to hate will notice that, and they'll throw some comments out there like, "Oh," but most people that are just going for casual enjoyment. I don't think so.
No, I get it.
That being said, though, where were those names? Like,
I think it's going to be a whole situation of like they did kind of with Infinity War and Endgame, where Infinity War was like all of them together, and then Endgame was like we're back to our original grouping of Avengers. Like I think they're doing the same thing, but with like the bigger names and the smaller names, where it's like, all right, Doomsday is kind of like the regular Avengers getting ready to go, and then maybe only like Sam Wilson and Thor make it out of this and have to team up afterwards with like they find Doctor Strange and Spider-Man and Scarlet Witch and like the popular Avengers, right? Where it's like, all right, now we go back to like the popular group to figure out the actual solution here before the big final battle at the end.
What are the new Guardians doing? What is Chris Pratt doing or Star-Lord doing?
Yeah, well, I think that's probably going to be what happens in in the second one, right? In Secret Wars. Like I think that's the people you call for that one. And it's interesting too, because I feel like outside of Thor and outside of like Ant-Man and Captain America, none of these characters really have a connection with Tony Stark, which I think is honestly a good choice, because it's like they may be easier to be like tricked depending on if he's doing like the I'm Tony Stark again, ha ha ha, but I'm actually Doom, versus like obviously I think if like Spider-Man met him, I think Peter Parker would figure it out pretty quick. At least I'd hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, a rumor or a potential idea that I saw online this week was that Tom Holland's storyline for Spider-Man 4 takes place at the exact same time, or roughly around the same time as
maybe that means the street level, which would be great.
Yeah, and I think fans are screaming for a street level Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland.
I'm that guy. That's me. It does feel also like they're just doing Avengers versus Endgame. I mean, Avengers versus X-Men, right? Like they have, it's the Avengers, it's the X-Men, it's also the Fantastic Four coming together. But we're missing a lot of like no Hulk, no Star-Lord, no Daredevil, my king, no Spider-Man, no Hawkeye, no Captain Marvel, no Nick Fury, no Scarlet
Moon Knight.
Witch. Yeah,
Moon Knight.
Dude, Moon Knight's gone. We're never seeing that guy again. No She-Hulk. Like it's just like I don't know where these characters are. But maybe it's broken down in like 2 teams, right? Team 1 is in the first one, team 2 is in the second one, and then they come together at the end of the second one, and it's like take down Doom.
We're gonna find out in 15 years that Moon Knight was on like a completely different dimension.
Yeah, Moon Knight was.
Of the MCU.
We're gonna get a comic tie-in where it's like Moon Knight was actually never there.
Yeah, pretty unfortunate, because I thought it was probably one of their more entertaining shows. I think there was definitely some letdowns throughout it. I think he's a fun character, an exciting character,
but I will say this live stream worked. Like 275 million views.
Yeah,
50 plus trending topics, 5 hours, and it was trending number 1 the whole time. Like there was a point where 10 million people were watching on Twitter concurrently these chairs. And I think that's kind of like the power that they have. Like they just came back and they're like, hey, we're them still. And it worked.
Yeah. Is the MCU really dead? I mean, that's just, I think by showing chairs for 6 hours.
I mean, Hunter said
showed everyone exactly that.
We're gonna eat up the slop.
Yeah, every time.
The slop.
Every time.
These Avengers movies could be so garbage, and people are still gonna show up because it's got Avengers in the title.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Mm.
Now, one other quick thing. Were either of you surprised that Ian McKellen? I know I texted you guys this, but am I the only one that's like shocked that Ian McKellen took this role?
He's getting a check and heading out. That's
he
all it is.
Need a check.
He's getting his check. He's getting a check now.
I see him and Patrick Stewart having minimal roles in this movie.
I would say less than 3 minutes.
I love both of them, and they're iconic. And seeing them pop up on the chairs made me excited. But then I realized that these guys are pretty old, so I think they are somewhat limited to what they could do with these characters. It's not like 20 years ago when they were in their late 60s or late 50s. It's just not. It doesn't make sense to expect that much out of them at this point in their careers.
Yeah. Well, I thought Ian McKellen. This is completely aside, but I thought Ian McKellen had quit acting in major movies and was just doing small theater roles because he's been doing that in London for I think the past couple of years.
Yeah,
and then they backed up the truck with full of cash, and he's like, "All right, I'll be there."
Yeah, I suppose.
But yeah, I mean, I think still it's going to be. I think honestly, if they can pull off an 85 Rotten Tomatoes score, we go into it, we're like, hey, that was actually pretty good. I think it's success all around, especially with the stumbles they've had previously.
One of the more personal side notes for this, I think one of the characters that I got really excited for was the fact that John Walker is going to be around for a little bit longer.
The U.S. agent, baby.
And obviously I think people online are making jokes like, oh, what is he gonna do against Doom? But he has the serum, he can do more than Captain America can. I mean, I know Captain America has the full vibranium, setup, but give him the same thing and he's better. I mean, I don't know, but I think
Captain America.
Jack,
he has the powers.
Jack, U.S. agent apologist.
He's not worthy though. That's the one thing he's not.
No.
And he can't lift Mjolnir. He can't do that. But I will say I'm excited. I think his storyline that it was very well done in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier storyline. I really enjoyed him, and I think I'm excited to see them explore it in the Thunderbolts, kind of like this hero who's fallen, and how can he resurrect his career, his I don't know. Really, really excited for that though. But you guys have anything else to add for the Chairathon?
Nope. I just really I would say 0% chance we see Thor's daughter again in this movie.
Oh my god, I already forgot about her.
No.
Love and Thunder, no.
I completely forgot about her.
Love and Thunder.
And Thunder.
That's crazy. But this is our last piece of news. Continuing on the superhero trend, Gen V was just announced by the director that they have finished shooting and that editing they are very far in post production. Right? Is that the correct term?
Yeah.
They're focusing on the sound effects and visual, or some of the smaller visual effects, and adding in some of the sound and music for the episodes. But it sounds like they're very far into the process, and we could honestly be expecting a trailer very soon. It was announced, and there's speculation that the trailer could come out at Comic-Con this year, which would be a fun way to generate buzz. And for now, they're anticipating that it could potentially come out around fall of 2025, which the first season came out in fall of 2023. Mm-hmm. So they're really sticking to their schedule that they set for themselves, that it would release sometime throughout 2025. Did either of you guys watch Gen V?
Yeah, it was great.
I loved it.
Great show. I don't know. I hope that it's as good because that one actor passed away. So I wonder how much that derailed kind of their plan with the show. But
yeah.
Oh, that's right. I did forget about that. We talked about that on the podcast.
Yeah, I wonder if I don't think we've seen any news saying that he's been recasted.
I don't think they are. I think they're just treating it as part of the show.
Yeah. He was and I think his character was one of the more entertaining parts of the show. He was a very complex character. He made some decisions that, obviously, for people who haven't seen season 1, I mean, I'm not really spoiling too much, but Arnold's son basically goes up in a ball of flames. That's his best friend, but then he also has relations with his best friend's girlfriend, and it's just there's a lot going on. He's also trying to live up to the the hype that his father has built and, navigating that relationship. I think I really enjoyed that aspect because I really don't feel like we've gotten a lot of that in kind of like comic book storylines, kind of living up to the fathers, which I guess that's part of Invincible. I guess maybe. I from seeing one episode, I feel like that's
Snow
kind of
White,
where it's headed.
Snow White was all this.
But no, I'm pumped for season 2 and The Boys. I think anything from the Boys universe is just give it to me.
For sure.
I want it now. But expect the trailer fairly soon. And I guess that'll send us into our trailers where we got Paul Thomas Anderson.
Before we do that, I just want to say my thoughts on the Zelda trilogy. Very pumped for it, actually. I think it's going to be very good. I'm very, very excited for this. We talked about before, like, I'm a big fan of the Mario movie. I don't think it's the greatest thing in the world, but like I think it actually captures the spirit of the games.
Yeah.
And if that is the mentality here with Zelda, we are in for quite a treat. I also think the fact that they're going with the trilogy right off the bat shows they're confident, especially from Nintendo, who is like very protective of all their IP. Like the fact that they're like, yeah, we're going to do a trilogy right off the bat shows that whatever they got, they're cooking. So really it's going to come down to casting for me, which would be very interesting too with Link never speaking in the games. To see if maybe that is something carried over to the movies, or at least maybe he's very minimal on his speaking. We'll have to see how that goes, but very pumped for these.
Hunter, I had a question that I wasn't quite sure. Do you think these movies will be based on the games, just all of them like combined, or a brand new storyline?
I would assume based on the games, and I would also assume if they are going to base them on the games, I would say probably it's going to be Majora's Mask would probably be maybe the one that they choose. Like I'd say Majora's Mask or Breath of the Wild probably are going to be the two that they pick. But I mean, it could really go. I mean, they could do Twilight Princess. Like, there's a lot of other options they could pick. I mean,
what makes you think it's going to be one of those two?
I think with Zelda, it's like, all right, if we're going to do the movie, we should probably do like if we're going to adapt some, let's pick like the two bigger ones, right? So it's like, all right, we could do the one that's the biggest now, which is Breath of the Wild. So everyone's very familiar with, that people know it. It's probably the easiest to adapt from like a visual standpoint because it is very realistic to our regular world. And the story is pretty cinematic. I would say Majora's Mask is the other one just because it is so like famous among Zelda fans. I don't think they're going to do like Spirit Tracks, or they're not going to probably do like A Link Between Worlds. But either way, I think no matter what they pick, I wouldn't be shocked also if they did like, maybe like a cherry picking of things that they liked from all of them.
I thought Ocarina of Time was one of the most popular ones. Would that be kind of a tough one? I've never played it. Would that be a tough
No,
one?
I mean, I think that would just be a more complicated story, especially with like the whole element of like the race against the clock over a trilogy. If it was just a solo movie, I wouldn't be shocked if they did that. But with it being a trilogy, I'm thinking, but you know what they could do is, because Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask connect, it could be like they do those two games as the trilogy, which is a possibility.
Okay.
I really appreciate that because I had no idea what was going on with Zelda, and that was unfortunately. I was like, does anyone know anything about Zelda? Someone please speak up. It's going to be really, really bad because
Avery didn't have a good Zelda information for you? It's a shame.
She's a massive
go back
fan.
to class and teach you some stuff.
She's a massive fan. Massive in all caps.
Yeah.
But no, heading into the trailers, I think obviously not a super heavy week for trailers. I think we just got this one, but very big one. I think a lot of people have been expecting this for a long time, but Leonardo DiCaprio, Benicio del Toro, Paul Thomas Anderson, the one battle after another. What'd you guys think?
I had no idea what was going on. Entire trailer. I was watching like, okay, I think I'm with it, and then something completely random would happen. I'd be like, okay, what? But I saw a comment, and it was like, finally, like, we got a trailer that gives us nothing but leaves us with more questions. And I was like, yeah, kind of.
It feels like a classic Severance episode.
Mm-hmm.
You watch it and you're like, this is awesome. I love it. I have no idea what's going on. Give me more. I love it.
Everyone's like, if you don't answer all of my questions in the season 2 finale, there's going to be some issues. But
no, this I think looked really good. I liked, dude, the second that carpet rolled on its own and covered up the trapdoor,
Oh,
I
that
was
was
like,
neat.
5 stars right here and there. Like that was awesome. That's all I needed to see. So loved that little bit. And I think this is Paul Thomas Anderson's like first movie in a very long time that's set in the modern day. I gotta look.
Really?
Yeah, because let's see.
He has what? He has
I think it's since
Boogie Nights. Boogie Nights.
I think Punch
Right?
Drunk Love was the last one that was set in the modern day.
Or he has Licorice Pizza. When was that?
That was in the 70s, right? That would take place in the 70s.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, I think this is the most since Punch Drunk Love is the set in the modern day.
Dang. Have you guys seen a lot of PTA's filmography?
I've seen
I have
Boogie
not.
Nights.
I've seen nothing.
I've seen
haven't seen a single one.
There Will Be Blood. I have not seen Licorice Pizza yet, and I had been meaning to watch Punch Drunk Love, but I haven't had the chance yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen any.
I was really hoping to watch Punch Drunk Love this weekend. That was like Caitlin and I were like, I want to watch this, and she's like, oh, well, I want to watch this. So I was like, I folded, but maybe next week we'll watch it and I'll have something to say about it. He's like a director that I feel like would be fun to do a deep dive on before we head into, because I think me personally, I'm so unfamiliar with his movies, and they're so critically acclaimed. You know, There Will Be Blood is just such a massive movie. I mean, you know, there's Daniel Day-Lewis won one of his Oscars for that movie, and I'd really love to just explore his filmography before we go see that movie. But excited to see like a big director's movie in theaters that I haven't seen before. So I feel like that's always fun. Like for me, Scorsese, it was, you know, Killers of the Flower Moon, because I hadn't seen any of his other movies in theaters. So like Killers of the Flower Moon was like super fun for me. But yeah, I mean, Leo looks great.
Does.
I'm really excited for him in this. He looks just completely unhinged, out of whack.
Grimy. He looks very grimy.
Yeah.
Viva la revolution.
I'm probably like, I don't know where I'd place this in my most anticipated for this year, but I would probably now, like, I feel like a Leo movie just has to be in the top 5. Or is that an overreaction?
I think it's not an overreaction. I think it is an appropriate reaction. I just feel like I have a lot of things like in my top 5.
Sure.
Yeah.
And especially for me, I feel like when we made our most anticipated, I think it's so easy to just see all the blockbusters. And I think when you're digging and trying to find, you know, some of these, I'm not going to say this is a small budget because this is a $175 million movie. So there's a lot of funding going into this, but not necessarily like the blockbuster. This is still a little bit more like artsy. You guys are following me.
No, the closest thing we had to an artsy movie, I'm looking right now at our most anticipated, was probably me with The Running Man. I don't think we have anything under like $150 million budget.
Yeah.
Most anticipated.
Yeah. And I think I put in the Jake Gyllenhaal, Maggie Gyllenhaal, The Bride. I think that was maybe one of the other ones. That was like one that I've just heard about for so long. And I was like, okay, like, I feel like I'm excited for this. So that's what I threw down. But it's always fun, like throughout the year though, because I feel like some of the movies that end up going into the Oscars, I really don't hear about them or see much about them until like they're here. So I feel like this is kind of like the first one of the year that we've kind of got some inside look at that could potentially be, you know, an early Oscars watch.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I kind of have a small segment that I wanted to bring up.
Ooh.
I was just kind of like on Letterboxd, and I wanted to get not like creative, but I realized that we all three of us have very distinct taste in movies, and I think that we all appreciate, you know, certain movies over others. But I think finding the movies that we all love is really fun. So I compiled the let me pull it up. I compiled the Real Serious Collection, and this collection consists of all of the movies that we have, all three of us have given a 5 out of 5 on Letterboxd.
Wow.
And I want you guys, before I get into these movies, I want to ask how many movies you guys think are in this collection so far.
I would guess 12.
I was gonna guess 9, but I feel like it's higher now that he said 12.
I think I give the fewest 5 stars.
Well, okay, I was like, all right, Oppenheimer for sure. I think Parasite. I think one of the Lord of the Rings.
I know we all gave Paddington 2 5 stars.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact.
Paddington 2. So I'm at 4 already.
Singing.
I think what else?
Jack, have you seen Singing in the Rain?
I'm not.
Okay, that's not there then.
I think it's hard too because there's some big movies that some of us have seen and then some of us haven't seen. So then kind of
Do we have like Avengers on there? I feel like probably not.
Good Will Hunting is
none of
definitely there.
Marvel's.
Dark Knight's definitely there.
All right, so I'm just going to come out and tell you that there are 9 movies here.
Wow, Hunter.
Shout out Hunter. Hunter was just spot on. So I think you guys were already able to get a couple of them. So Good Will Hunting for sure. Paddington 2. Oppenheimer. And then The Dark Knight. Okay.
Okay.
Back to the Future.
Parasite is not here.
Back to the Future.
I believe Parasite, I have it at a 4.5. So I was probably the one that kept it off the list.
Okay.
But it can always come back. It can always join the list. It can always leave the list.
It could always make the list. It could always make that list.
Exactly. But there are about 5 movies here that you guys have not named.
Not
you
Back
guys
to
have
the Future.
any Back to the Future is there?
Okay.
I don't think we've all reviewed The Godfather.
I haven't seen Godfather.
I gave The Godfather a 4 on my first watch.
Hang on, let me look at my. I'm gonna pull up
disastrous.
I don't want to pull up.
No. Try not. Or I guess like you can pull up your 500.
I'm gonna look at my 5s because then I can see
see
what you guys would be the same at.
Yeah.
I don't want to look at mine.
Sort by rating.
No.
So I'm gonna give you guys. So this.
Oh, I got the next one. I got the next one now. I got the next couple, I think.
So I'm gonna let you guys know that this collection, it ranges from the years 2023 or 1957 to 2023.
12 Angry Men.
There you go.
The Batman.
The Batman.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
No, I didn't give that 5.
No. We got one more. And I feel like this one is or Interstellar is there. We had 2 more. I apologize. Interstellar is there.
Oh man.
This one I feel like is not that I wasn't expecting this. I was just kind of surprised that we all had it as a 5.
Oh.
I love this movie.
Top Gun Maverick.
No, I didn't give that 5.
No, Charles. You're wrong.
I know. There's there's certain movies that I was like, I have to be here.
Is it something Pixar
and they just weren't.
related?
No, not Pixar.
That would have been good. I know.
Shrek 2.
No, I didn't give Shrek 2 5 stars.
That you're wrong again.
I want you guys to do a couple more guesses and then.
Is it The Wolf of Wall Street?
No. A couple more guesses, then I'm.
What year did it come out?
Yeah, give us the year.
The year this movie came out in the year 2000.
It's not Lord of the Rings.
No.
None
of the Lord of the Rings are on this list,
It's not.
which I also found surprising.
I know it now, I think. Is it Maximus Decimus Meridius?
Yes, it is. Gladiator.
Yes.
So we are that is the list. I think it was kind of fun putting this together just to realize that, I guess these are our 9 favorite movies. The fact that we've all given them a 5 out of 5. So I think it was cool just kind of putting this list together. But again, the list consists of The Dark Knight, Paddington 2, 12 Angry Men, Back to the Future, Gladiator, Interstellar, Good Will Hunting, The Batman, and Oppenheimer. Christopher Nolan leading the charge with 33% of the collection. A surprise to absolutely no one.
Thanks for doing that, Jack.
Yes.
No, it was like so fun to do. I thought about it, and I know some other like podcasts have done something similar where they'll kind of compile the movies that they've all like ranked very highly. So I wanted to do something similar, but super excited to continue to add more to this collection. But I think the thing I'm most excited about is we have yet to add one while I guess any of us have been on the pod. We have
someone decided not to give something 5 stars that deserves
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe one day, but I think it's even for me. It's like you guys got to discuss Dune 2 together. I wasn't on the podcast yet, so I think
Superman be there.
Maybe.
Actually, I think of the releases this year, I think the possibility of our number one, I think, is going to be Mission Impossible.
Yeah,
I just feel so good with that movie.
I would also say Avatar. I think Avatar.
I think we're going to be 4.5ers on Avatar.
Yeah.
See, I don't know. I'm a 5 on The Way of Water.
Yeah, and apparently this is way better. So
if it's way better, I think it'll blow our minds. But I'm so pumped to just the day that we all go to the theater and we're like, that was absolutely electric, and we all
hang on, we did that already. We're doing The Working Man today.
Oh man, that is a great.
Jack, you forgot that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. Yeah. I also wanted to try and compile some 3.5 bangers. I'm going to try and work on that, but that list is going to be
long,
pretty long, especially considering how many 3.5 star. It probably isn't that bad, but just going through it, it'll take a little bit of time. But excited to see we all have a general consensus on what is a 3.5 star banger. And after watching A Working Man, so now we're going to move into A Working Man review.
Before we do that, I saw Sing Sing finally, and I loved it.
I forgot to ask what you watched this week. I'm so sorry.
I only had 2 things besides Working Man. I had Sing Sing and The Incredibles. Gave them both 4.5 stars. Sing Sing, super powerful story. Really, really loved it. Yeah, I'm very sophisticated. Sing Sing, and I was like, I gotta clear it up with The Incredibles afterwards. Sing Sing truly like one of the best movies of the year. Kind of a shame it didn't. I think it was way better than Anora, but I agree. My issues with Anora. Really just an incredible thing. I think it's good still, but I think it was just like a clear Academy darling that didn't, one of those things. And then Incredibles. Dare I say, incredible.
It's pretty fantastic.
I think it actually gets better with age. I like it more now than I think I ever have, and I think it's been my favorite Pixar for the longest time. So it just gets better.
Your favorite Pixar is 4.5?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I think so I have WALL-E higher, but I prefer Incredibles. Favorite versus best kind of thing.
Got you.
You've got Incredibles in your top 5 scores.
Oh yeah, that score is awesome.
I will say I would love to do a score draft. That is something I remember you guys did early on.
I would do that again. I think we missed quite a few big ones.
I think so too.
I remember commenting on that video. I was like, Babylon was severely just missed.
We
on
did,
this,
yeah.
On this.
Babylon. They did La La Land. All right, it's the same thing.
Yeah. All right, you had to choose were you only able to choose one?
No, they're just the same soundtrack.
Okay. But no, I'd love to redo that. I feel like that was one that I missed that I would love to revisit, especially with so many great ones coming out as of recently. So yeah, but I guess Hunter watched Daredevil.
Oh yeah.
Okay, because I feel I didn't want to miss Daredevil
yet. Which I'm hoping to catch the studio next week and just do the 3 episodes in a row, which I heard is great. Waiting on that. But yeah, Daredevil was incredible this week. So 2 episodes this week. We got kind of the quote unquote filler episode, which honestly, so sick of people saying that. Great episode. Really was a nice introduction back to Daredevil, getting his feet wet back and saving people. A little Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel Easter egg, or I guess giant Easter egg. And just really solid episode 5. And then episode 6, we're back. Oh, we're so back. I mean, they both, Kingpin and Daredevil, had their suit up moment where we're ready to go. And also aura farming to the extreme, both of them.
the punch for punch sequence just went insane.
And then did they show this? Daredevil.
Yes.
Okay.
It looks pretty sweet, the comic art, or at least the art on the front.
Yeah, no, it's sweet. It seems like based on what I've read about this, it seems like it's more season 2 of Daredevil based than really the actual show Born Again, but I'm so excited to read it.
Yeah. No, I think this week the filler episode, I think it just felt so filler-esque just to kind of squeeze in Miss Marvel's character. And just to kind of mention her. I thought the Funko Pop was just so goofy.
I liked it though. It was such a dorky dad move.
Sure.
And also like I think it worked well too, because it's like, all right, if we're gonna meet a character that he's gonna like have a emotional connection to for one episode, why not make that the cameo character and like just have us already have a pre-emotional connection to this person.
I will say this episode was massive because it proves that Funko Pops do exist in the MCU.
Yeah.
What happened with the Funko Pop?
Miss Marvel's dad had a Miss Marvel Funko Pop on his desk, and he was like bragging. He's like, "We have our own hero in Jersey City. It's this really cool hero called Miss Marvel."
And he's like, "Who? What?" Which, again, I think it brings into question that even the heroes in New York don't know some of these massive storylines that are happening.
Yeah, well, like, even when they're like talk about, instead of saying like Spider-Man's on the street, it's like this guy dressed like a spider. Like it's like they still don't know them as well as like I think they should.
Yeah, and you see all these. We watch these massive storylines. And we're like, how do they not know each other? How are they not talking with one another? But then at the same time, it's like, New York's a big place.
Yeah,
some of the good stuff.
Yeah, like how much are we in the Midwest hearing about the mayoral races in New York City? Right? It's like not a whole lot, but like for those that live there, it's a big deal.
Yeah, and it's like who, somebody's got to hold down New Jersey too.
Yeah.
So shout out Miss Marvel for taking over the team. But yeah, I guess like I thought that episode was good towards the back because it did have that kind of character development where he puts on the red mask of the robber and chases down the lead.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just snaps his leg into oblivion.
I did love how like all the people that were hostages were just like, this blind guy is going to save us. We'll be A-okay. They were just accepting it. They're like, yeah, we're going to be all good. But yeah, and I think also too, like the story of Matt understanding the fact that he needs to go outside the system once again is working really well, especially with like the daughter. But yeah,
I like the scene where he calls 911, has it up to his ear, and he's just like, all right, I got it. Like, fine, I'll do it myself, and he does do it himself.
Yeah.
So, I was scared a little bit though. It's like where he draws the line between like fully like making someone pass out and killing them. I'm just like, did he kill the person at the end?
Well, I think he wouldn't have. I feel like he's kind of going on a path where maybe he wouldn't mind. Because that's why I think he went and met Frank, and like even in the first episode, right, where when Foggy dies, he pushes Bullseye off the building.
Yeah,
like he kind of got lucky that Bullseye didn't die there.
Yeah,
like he didn't care at this point. So I feel like he's going down that path where maybe Frank's gonna have to pull him out and be like, "This isn't you, Red," and all that stuff. But maybe not. And then we kind of got the set leak for season 2 of him in the black suit. That could be a darker path. Also, such a sick photo. Just
I didn't see that.
Did I send that in the chat?
You sent it in the group chat.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, that's just a set photo too, which is insane.
And can I say, like, again with the whole leaking the information, I would have loved to just have. I mean, I guess maybe they introduced this new suit at the end of the season, But you know how awesome it would have been for us to just be anxiously waiting for season 2 to come, and then they're just like, yeah, here's marketing material, and it's just him in the black suit.
Yeah,
I feel like that would have been so much better than just like, yeah, we're shooting it. Here's a leaked photo on set. It was just like, it's still awesome, and I'm still excited, but
yeah, but see, that's where like I'll allow stuff like that, at least in my mind, because it's like, all right, at least they're shooting on location. Like we're not just in a green screen in the middle of nowhere. Like kind of thing. So it's like I'll take that versus like a scooper just being like, here's the actual script. Here's what I read. It's like, dude, I don't want that. All right.
No, I agree. That's a good point. But yeah, that's Daredevil. And then I guess I'm just going to continue to plug the studio. I swear, guys, it is an hour of your time. It's not like the greatest television show of all time, but it is entertaining. It is fun. And I think I can speak for the three of us. Like there's a funny part in episode 1 where they literally have trouble pronouncing an actor's name. Like we've done that here.
Yeah.
And then it's like having like joking about the execs not knowing their names. Like that's funny. There's just so much. It's a satire to the max on Hollywood. And I think just every week, how much we talk about it, the movies that we watch, I promise you guys are going to enjoy this. Literally the entire second episode, it's 25 minutes, First one's 45. It's going to take like an hour of your time. The second episode is called The Oneer, and it's basically just like shown to be one shot. Yeah, and it's awesome. It's so cool. It's great. Seth Rogen his comedic timing is just continues to be electric. The laugh, I can't do it. If someone, yeah, there you go. That was great.
That kind of sounded like Peter Griffin.
Hey, Lois. Peter. I will also plug. So I've been doing a lot of driving recently, and I've been listening to the plug another podcast on our podcast. The Light the Fuse podcast is the like official Mission Impossible podcast. They're doing this whole thing leading up to like the Final Reckoning, where they're like going back and doing like these documentary style podcasts about the making of Mission Impossible. It is beyond fascinating. I highly recommend giving it a listen if you have time over the next couple of weeks, just while you're doing random stuff or even like at the gym or something. It is so interesting. They cut in all these like interviews, and they cut in like even Tom Cruise comes on the podcast, Christopher McQuarrie comes on the podcast and talks about the movies. It is so fascinating to see like how these movies get made. And it's similar to what Jack's saying about like the studio is like, you don't realize how much goes into these until you like understand it from that level. But then also you don't realize how much is just like guesswork. Like they talk about Mission Impossible, where like you think Mission Impossible of all franchises, like very meticulously planned. They do a lot of stuff day of where they're just like, all right, I think this is going to work. We're going to have to find out and see. Yeah. It is very fascinating to see how quickly things change. There was a whole Mission Impossible 3 script where he was going to go in a computer, like just way different from what we got. And it's just very fascinating. So highly recommend that. Before we talking about good action franchise, before we have to talk about a working man.
After we get to talk about it.
Yeah, there you go. Very appreciative.
But yeah.
No, thank you. I want to try and listen to that. And I think
it's a great listen.
And being able to hear about like small things in the movie, like it was done this way. And then you watch it over again. You're like, I know why they did it that, and I think it'd be really cool. Even if we did as a podcast, like we watched a movie, and I know they have some really good documentaries.
Some nerd nuggets.
Exactly. And I think the nerd nuggets would be absolutely off the walls. So I think that would be fun to maybe, not just watch the movie, but dig a lot deeper through, a documentary or something of that sort. So
yeah. I was thinking maybe doing something like that for like when we get Superman. Maybe just do the 1979 version and then go from there and just kind of talk about it and talk about like the history of we could talk maybe about the Nicolas Cage movie that never happened. That's a whole can of worms. Well, I guess it did happen thanks to the Flash, so never forget.
He had no idea though.
Yeah, which is crazy. But yeah, do you want to do some working man chat?
Yeah, well, guys, it is time for the action movie of the year.
An action movie of the year for sure.
An action movie of the year. A working man.
We all saw. We definitely.
I'm sure we all had different theater experiences with this.
Mine was bad.
Full spoilers. There is nothing we're holding back.
Mm-hmm.
But traffickers beware. A working man is coming.
Yeah, he is. He's working. Man.
Yeah.
This was so disappointing.
Yeah, it was pretty stinky.
Like it was
fired up going into it.
I was pumped.
I saw your guys' reviews. You each gave it 2 stars, and I was like, how bad could it be? It's Jason Statham. It's an action movie. Like, it's all the same anyway. No, this was pretty bad.
Yeah, I don't get. They basically were like, hey, what if we took Beekeeper and instead of doing more action, we were like, hey, let's give him more plot.
Yeah, let's take the Beekeeper. Let's suppress the redeeming and great parts about it.
Yeah,
and throw in a couple really subpar plot lines.
Yeah, really didn't. I put in my letterbox review. I was like, don't take the plot out of my Jason Statham action movies, please. I don't need it. I don't want it. It was just too much. Like, I think if you cut the whole daughter storyline with the grandfather, I think the movie would have been the exact same. I would have felt the same about the working man. I would have not really felt any different about him. I think it would have been just as fine. Honestly, you could have just gave him like a pet dog, and would have been the same thing, in my opinion. He
Would have been John Wick.
Yeah, it would have. All right, we could have just gave him nothing. He could have just still went to David Harbour for help, and did the whole backstory of his military backstory. I think it would have worked a little bit better. They brought up like the wife who passed, and I felt like a storyline that was coming and just went nowhere. Same with the divorce lawyers, that went nowhere. A lot of things just went nowhere. I think the most interesting thing was the main plot. The main through line, right? Where it's like, it just got too complicated for this movie. Like, I don't need him going to a biker gang, getting in their good graces by selling drugs, and then using that good graces to then get a meeting with the Russian mafia, to then meet this other guy. It's like, dude, I want to see my Jason Statham just go level by level, getting through the plot from A to B. I don't need to jump around and get all into all this.
I think they showed the divorce lawyers, and I think they showed a lot of it to prove that he was like unhinged, I guess. But again, it had nothing to do with the plot. We want to see him unhinged. Like, that's the point.
The whole thing is like, please unhinge Jason Statham. Please.
We want to see him kicking butt. I had the exact same thought when I left the theater. Like, that whole daughter thing, every time she was on screen, I was like, I just could not care less about this grandfather and this daughter. You know, it just was so uninteresting. It wasn't compelling at all. And I also I don't think the fights were that great.
Until the ending, they really weren't. Like, the one in the bar was a bit choppy.
The Beekeeper was good because some of those. I like the awesome. Beekeeper has the coolest fights. Like I haven't seen that movie since the beginning of last year, but off rip, like, I'm just thinking of that first fight when they go to his compound where he and this guy and
he uses more tools to kill people than the working man.
Yeah.
He picks up the sledgehammer once, and it's not to like hit anybody. He just uses it to break the chains. I was like, dude, this is your chance.
It was so frustrating. Like, I watching this movie made me love The Beekeeper.
Yeah, it makes you appreciate it more.
Yeah, 100%. I watched The Beekeeper, and you guys had hyped it up, and I was like, you know what, this is really good. But I think it has so much action for me that kind of by the end, it's a little bit stale. This movie needed so much more action because the storyline was just bad.
Yeah,
they tried to introduce you to characters that you have no emotional connection to. I get it. They're trying to bring in this daughter and the grandpa. You know, again, I could care less. You guys could care less. This whole biker gang. There's that whole weird sequence where he kills the guy that's the lead of like this, like the drug. I don't know, not the cartel.
Yeah, and he like earned his respect.
Yeah, and he's like, I didn't have to kill you, and it's like, bro, like,
wasn't with you.
Like, what? Like, were they in love? Like, is this Romeo and Juliet? What is going on here?
They were respecting each other because they were both working men.
And can I say, like, David Harbour quite possibly got the best paycheck of the year.
Oh yeah,
he
literally was what's his name from the movie we're about to see, Thunderbolts. He was just that guy with glasses on.
Red Guardian.
Yeah, like he plays the same character too in Extraction, where he's like the buddy who like helps out.
It was so funny. I saw him. He was, as they were starting the movie, that he was in it, and I was like, I had no idea that David Harbour was in this movie.
Oh yeah,
I saw it in
love all
the
the
credits.
Statham, the Sylvester Stallone, like written and directed by.
The credits were hysterical. It's a David
all the credits were on the side, and Sylvester Stallone was dead center.
Well, I will say, I don't know if you guys caught this too, but I thought the sniper was, or not the sniper, but like the rifle he was carrying around in the house,
16 or something.
It was just ridiculous because he was just popping people, and they were just like flying back.
That was awesome.
That was
cool. It got me back in. The last 20 minutes of this movie saved the movie.
I agree.
I did love the joke though about like he pulls the phone down, he shoots the two guys. She's like, "What was that?" He's like, "Bluetooth." It's like that's the stuff I'm there for. I'm there for that. I'm there for Jason Statham to be like, I protect the hive. Like that's what I want out of these movies. I don't need the whole plot. I just need silly dialogue and cool action scenes.
Like him being oh no, you're good.
No, I was Never. I was just gonna actually check. You go. I'll bring it.
Okay.
I'll bring
I was
it up.
saying the beekeeper is so good because he's such a mysterious character.
Yeah.
You don't need all this exposition saying, oh, yeah, well, like, he's actually got a daughter and he's actually divorced and he's actually, trying to keep custody of his daughter. And they actually think that he killed his wife. Like, look, they could have just said that they thought he killed his wife and it would have made him a more complex character. And they didn't have to describe anything else. I would have been like, okay.
100%. And I also think that this felt like, I don't know, it felt like Sylvester Stallone trying to like do like Rambo again, where it's like, oh, it's a war vet who's kind of a guy who gets pulled into a thing he doesn't want to deal with, that has to save the day and is dealing with all this trauma. It's like, all right, that's interesting, but it works in Rambo because we learn about it slowly throughout the movie, not just like info dump to the beginning and then nothing comes from it.
Did you guys think the first fight, like at the construction site when those people came, was going to be tied into the rest of the movie?
Yeah, it never came back. I was like, these are the guys. I was like, all right, these are the guys.
And then they never came up. I thought like, oh, like they were like Jason Statham's character got these guys, then they came to get back at him by stealing this
which would have been better, because then it at least ties in the fact, like, which the whole thing is like he's using violence when he shouldn't. And then that leads to bad things happening. So if he did it there, used violence,
I thought they were like
it led to
construction people or something. I don't know. And then they were going to steal the daughter to get back at the owners of this.
Yes,
other.
I was like, all right, here we go.
Like, okay, that makes sense. But it was like I didn't realize until the end that it was trafficking.
Yeah, it was like the Russian mob.
Oh, I didn't like. I would have liked it being called a working man. They did a lot of work to show that obviously he's on construction. He's like living out of his car, basically.
A different car every time he's on, by the way.
Yeah, which is just crazy.
I rent with my no money.
Yeah. And I wish they would have just done like a sequence, even if it was like the opening credits of him. Like, I know they tried to show like with like the cartoon or whatever that was of like people working, but it would have been so much cooler if it was like Jason Statham with like a hammer and he's just like just nailing it down, and you just hear like the sound against, with it on the steel, like at the end of Iron Man, like Iron Man, it's like doom, like when he's working on the suit, like that would have been awesome.
He didn't do a lot of working. He was more like the supervisor man.
You're not a cop. You're a working man.
Yeah, I can tell these hands, boy, they ain't soft.
Some of the letters were so terrible.
Also, I did love the fact that the opening credits did tie into the plot, because the two guys he uses are like the two guys from the opening credits. Like, because it turns out David Harbour's the guy he picked up and saved, and then the other cop guy he calls is the guy who was also with them, like in the opening credits. That like clicked in afterwards, but
that's crazy.
Yeah, it actually told you the plot.
Yeah, I didn't.
I was not paying that much attention to the opening credits.
See, I was like, I gotta lock in because this could be as good as the Beekeeper, and then I lost interest as it went along. So that's why at the beginning I was ready. But yeah,
I also thought the acting was so bad. I don't know if I like Jason Statham was fine. He's the same character, or he acts the same in every movie. But like, particularly those two henchmen that were, the one like abducting the girl.
Yeah,
so bad. And also the parents of the girl. I can't remember the girl. Jenny. Her name's Jenny. The parents of Jenny, like when they're asking Jason Statham's character to go save her, it was just like so painfully bad. I thought when they were trying to get like really emotional.
Please take my bag of money, please.
No, I will say it's like Michael. Is it Pena?
Yes.
Good actor. Like I like him in a lot of things, but this is one where I just like it was a swing and a miss.
Yeah.
Like when he's trying to cry, I was looking at the lighting and I'm like, I just think they set up the lighting intentionally because he wasn't able to cry, or he wasn't able to like, it just wasn't as strong of a delivery as maybe they were hoping for. Did anyone else like, I feel like they're
I think Michael Pena's been struggling with some roles recently. I feel like he was good for a while, and then recently he's been in some bad stuff.
I thought he had at least I heard really good things from his movie about maybe like 2 years ago.
So ever since he was in
Ant-Man
and the Wasp, he was in Extinction, Dora the Explorer, Fantasy Island, Tom and Jerry, Moonfall, Secret Headquarters, Million Miles Away, which
That's what I heard was good.
okay, and then Unstoppable, and then this. So
Don't forget Dora and the Lost City of Gold. Come on, man.
yeah, no, Dora the Explorer. But do we want to get an average person's thought on the movie right now, since I made her sit through it?
An average person?
Well, she's not a cinephile like the rest of us. So, Dog, what did we think?
Yeah, we are cinephiles.
Yeah, we are. All right, so what do we think?
I thought it wasn't that good, which is okay. Not everyone can win.
Mm-hmm.
Parts that I did like, I liked how when they're like looking for the grandfather, Jason Statham was like, "Oh, check Find My Friends," and like using like realistic things like that, like I don't know, utilizing like our smartphones for like what they can actually do. I thought that was good because I feel like in a lot of movies, I don't know, they're trying to find someone. It's like, just look on Find My Friends.
Yeah,
There's so
check
many
Snapchat.
easier ways the movie would be done in 10 minutes if you did that. Other than that, wasn't for me. Would I see it again? Probably not. Am I happy I went? Sure, yeah.
You did rank it higher than actually all of us. You gave it 2.5, and we gave it all 2.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I didn't see The Beekeeper, so I can't compare it against that.
yeah, you're missing out.
You got Peak is headed your way.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. Yeah, yeah.
Just get
I
ready.
need to watch that.
Peak is yeah, we're gonna watch it. So don't worry. I know. All right, thank you, average person, for supplying information there. So yeah, I mean, I think overall, even the average fan knows it's not as good, but
There was a lot of speaking of like real things, there were a lot of automobile product placements.
oh, did you? Yeah, I love my favorite one is him in the really nice truck with like 2 leaves on it, and they're like, he's right outside. He's outside the facility. And then,
I know. I was like,
and then
what?
Yeah, and then he opens the door to them, does a little light jog to get on a motorcycle, and they're like, he escaped, he got away.
So for everyone that didn't see this movie,
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I'm confused in the movie so he gave them all the money that he had. He gave like the lawyers like the 10 grand he had. How did he have a different car in every single scene?
He's a renter.
Tax write-offs.
He's got a Hertz membership, I think.
Oh gosh.
well, the parents gave him a ton of cash, right?
I think they did, but didn't he reject the money at first?
He stole a lot of the cash from like the 90.
Remember, he threw it back at him.
I don't
gotta
think he
say.
threw it all though.
I hope he took the cash. If not, this guy is in some serious debt. And that is a whole other storyline to follow. That this guy is he is being owned by these corporate banks, and he will not have a life ever again.
The sequel to A Working Man, A Broke Man.
Yeah, a debt collector.
But adding to what Hunter was saying earlier about the car, for those that didn't watch, there's a scene in the movie where Jason Statham is like staking out in front of like this bar, and it's where this biker gang is, and he's in his car, and it like there's maybe like one branch covering up his car, and it looks like he's being super secretive, and then someone on the security is like, "Oh my gosh, he's right there,"
And it's just
We
like
got him on the infrared.
close above his head.
It's
like,
him,
yeah,
his
it's like-
baldness looking around.
It's like, no crap, he's right there. Like that was like the least like secretive thing you could have done.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and then he proceeds to get out of his car as people are headed his way, go around the bushes, and then walk out to a bike, hop on it, and drive away.
And then they shot at him.
Honestly, juked him like
He was going a straight line, and they couldn't hit him.
I was stunned. I will say another area that I just laughed because I was like, what? Not because I was like, it's funny, but I was like, what are they thinking here? So they try to make this experience with the girl and everything that she's been through throughout this movie. Like, I'd say they like made it pretty like traumatic. I mean, it's a really serious situation, first off. And once she gets saved from this like mansion, as she's leaving, she like flicks off the building.
Oh yeah.
And I'm
Wild
like,
move.
someone, and I
See you
get it.
later.
I get it. This movie is not like this movie is the least serious thing you will probably see all year. But like, if someone were actually in that situation where they're being held captive and used for their body, like they're not going to take an extra second to look at the building as they're trying to leave and just be like, you know what? I'm going to flick off the building.
Yeah.
That
I
is
also
not
like
happening.
the ending too with her and him at the door, like what happens and the murder house stays in the murder house. And then they go inside. So what are they going to like? The parents are like, where were you? And she's going to be like, I was away. And AJ's be like, I found her. She was away. Like, what are they going to talk? Like, I don't. The other thing I did love too is the Russian mafia being like, the devil's had his due. We're good. Leave him alone. And then the guy like, no, my boys.
What was the point of the cops? That,
Yeah.
They
They're
just
like, so sorry, and then just get immediately shot up.
Yeah,
the mob has infiltrated everything. Like, I didn't mind that, the fact that the cops were like somewhat in on it.
I didn't mind it until they got shot, and it just what was the point?
Yeah, them pulling up, be like, there's an active shooter situation. Just done. I was like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
But
man, I want to watch The Beekeeper again. Like, I'm itching right now.
A breath of fresh air.
Yeah. Man, but you know what? Jason Statham, he still got it.
He does. And after watching Snatch, I was like, this guy he has been aura farming for his entire life.
Look, they can't all be winners, all right? Like, for every single time that there's a beekeeper, there has to be a working man. For every time that there's a Wrath of Man, we have to deal with Transporter 2. It's all good. Also, can I list to you some of the things that Jason Statham has been in movies real fast?
Yeah.
So he has been the mechanic twice. He's been the transporter, I believe, 3 times. He's been Crank twice. Expendables 4 times. What was he in Wrath of Man? He was, I believe, a truck driver, where I think they called him a truck driver repeatedly. Here he's obviously a working man. And I think one other time he's another thing. So Jason Statham, a lot of jobs.
Hobbs and Jobs.
Oh, la-di-da-di-da. Italian Job. That's the other one he's in. So there we go.
Bro loves working as
and then never forget him in The Meg and The Meg 2 as Jonas Taylor.
How can I forget that?
Hunter, I'm going to give it to you. I know you've been waiting to hear something like this from one of us. After watching this movie, I was like, you know what? I would rather be watching the Fast and Furious franchise right now.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah.
Like, at least, like, they try to make a storyline, and at least, like, while I'm not the biggest fan of the Fast and Furious franchise, you know what? It does have its highs and its lows. And A Working Man was just so frustratingly below average that I was like, all right, just let me watch the Fast. Just turn it off, put the Fast and Furious on.
I've got 2 other things on this movie, really quick. One, when Wagon Wheel started playing when he was pulling up to the bar, I was like, what? And
they were rocking out.
I was pumped.
When the only time my theater laughed is when he saved the grandfather and the little girl was like, he could have left you in there.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Everyone's like, what?
I will say, for the theater experience, I would say that I was probably joined by like 10 other people on a.
Dude, my theater was kind of packed.
Mine was packed.
I went at a
9 p.m. on a Friday night.
Yeah, like the problem with me is I really don't feel like I can understand or wrap my mind around whether these movies are going to be big or not, because I go at such a terrible time. And also the theater that I go to is just not always popping, you know? But I went at 4:45 on a Thursday. Most people are still working. Everyone should still be working, you know? But I was joined by like 10 other people. And I was like, you know what? Maybe this movie's going to do all right. Because normally it's just me and 2 other people. So I know, Hunter, you said it. You had a bad theater experience?
Yeah, dude. Some rowdy teens behind us talking a lot. Really got me all annoyed. I was going to say something, but I don't know. It never like was so egregious. It was just kind of like a thing. And then one of them must have been the deepest bag of candy I've ever heard in my life. I mean, they were just for the whole thing. I was like, dude, just eat it already. What is going on? But yeah, it was a little tough, but it is what it is.
That's absurd. I mean, I guess if that's all we have for a working man, the only thing that we have left to do is say our scores out of 100.
Yes, we do. Let me give me 1 sec to pull up the graphic real quick. All right, I am ready whenever you guys are. I give it a 48 out of 100.
I give it a 36.
I'm gonna go with 37.
Wow. Okay, I was a little more generous than you guys, but it is what it is.
And I know this is gonna sound really bad, and I might get some hate for this, but I think I enjoyed Snow White more than I enjoyed this.
I debated this back and forth in my mind. I still think Snow White is worse, just from the aspect of like the last 20 minutes of Working Man really do save this movie.
Sure, I agree.
If the last 20 minutes were equivalent to the rest of it, it would have been worse. If it wasn't, it would have been,
I'm glad that I'm not like, you guys aren't screaming at me like, no,
Oh no, yeah.
Okay, good. I'm glad that we can find a middle ground on this one.
I have it ranked in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th spot for the year, ahead of Snow White, ahead of Mickey 17, ahead of The Electric State, Love Hurts, Your Cordially Invited Wolfman, and Back in Action. The more I sit with Mickey 17, the less I like it. I just don't. It's not.
I'm going to see that today.
I forgot that you didn't see it because Danny, or you saw it, right? You didn't see Mickey 17 and Danny saw it instead, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to hear what your thoughts are.
That was the weekend that I could either catch up on Severance or watch Mickey 17, and I went with Severance.
That's a good choice. I think Mickey 17 was good, and I really enjoyed it. I think I like the creative aspects of it, and I think there's something to appreciate it for. But I think if the comedy doesn't really hit, I think that's where the movie kind of goes downhill, and I think that's where we ended up saying, maybe this isn't for us, or maybe it's not for you. But cool. Yeah, big week. Next week we have quite possibly the movie of the century, Flint and Steel.
Chicken jockey.
That's great.
That was so spot on. Pumped.
I think my number 2 on box office.
And dude, the memes make it seem like it's going to be big.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Big. I mean, it's giving the same vibes as what people were trying to do for The Rise of Gru, Minions a couple of years ago. Are there going to be massive crowds of young kids in high school in suits at this movie?
I don't know. I really hope so.
No, I think it's just going to be a bunch of people in blue shirts and khakis.
That'd be funny.
Maybe I'll have to do that.
I say we all do it. Just throw some khakis and a blue shirt on and just roll up.
Sneaky, one of the bigger weeks for us is going to be if you go to next week, so the 11th, so not this following week, but the week after, The Amateur comes out. Drop releases, also Warfare releases. So I don't know about you guys, but I will be using all 3 of my AMC A-list options there that week for those 3 releases. I'm pretty pumped for all of those.
I am pretty fired up for the Amateur.
The Amateur, the more I see of it, the more I seem to like it.
I also want to see King of Kings. Have you seen that?
Yeah, the Oscar Isaac, like Jesus animated movie.
Yeah.
I think Oscar Isaac has a great voice, so the fact that he's playing Jesus, I feel like that.
Pierce Brosnan, Oscar Isaac, and Uma Thurman.
Whoa.
And it's pretty cool animation style.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill's in it as well.
I will say, guys, from here on out, the year just heats up.
Yeah, no, this is kind of the biggest lull we've had in a while. But once we get past this, we are cruising.
Because lay
it out for us.
I can't lay out everything at this specific moment, but I know April is a packed month. So April, we are getting Sinners. That has been something I've been really looking forward to. The Michael B. Jordan playing a twin brothers there. Obviously, we get Drop. We get Warfare, as you detailed, Hunter. But I was just gonna say, up until this point, I don't think we've necessarily deemed any of these movies that we've seen this year to be great, which is expected.
Yeah, I only have one that even I think is good. Well, I have two that are good.
I think I have honestly 4 movies that I've enjoyed, that I've deemed good movies. But I think it can be kind of up there because Den of Thieves is kind of included in there too.
Oh, then okay. Then I think I have 4 also. Now I'm looking at this again.
Companion, Den of Thieves, Mickey 17, and then I have Hard Eyes, which kind of. But and then May, once we get through April, May is just one heater of a month. It just continues. Starts off with the Thunderbolts, and then it rolls us straight into June. So a lot of great things to come. Get excited for Minecraft. Minecraft is going to be the event of the century. Get all your friends. Go see it.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a bad movie, but it's gonna be.
I mean, our next few episodes are packed. We got Minecraft, Amateur Drop Warfare, Sinners, Accountant 2, and then Thunderbolts the week following. I mean, we got some real packed stuff. And then we got Lilo and Stitch Mission Impossible just around the corner, Karate Kid around the corner. And then we're kind of in a lull in the beginning of June, I think, until we get to, I'm pretty sure we're kind of at a lull.
But
oh yeah, 28 years later, How to Train Your Dragon. Never mind.
We're
in the
cooking.
World of John Wick. We are fully cooking.
No room for error.
Agreed. So yeah, pumped for what's to come. But yeah. Anything else from the boys? Good stuff. Keep working, man. Jeez. Yeah, that was a good one, wasn't it? All right. If that's it, till next week, we'll talk more of the studio. We'll talk Minecraft. And yeah, can't wait. It's so good. All right. Peace.